In this tutorial video, we'll be working through the mean, median, and mode worksheet for applied math. So it says, if x is greater than 0, what is the median of the set of data consisting of negative 2x, negative 5x, x, negative 8x, and 4x? Now, we did a problem very similar to this in your notes. So it tells you right here that x has to be greater than 0. So I'm just going to say, let's make x equal 1. So I'm going to rewrite all of these numbers. I have negative 2x, negative 5x, x, negative 8x, and 4x. So remember, we picked x to equal 1. So if I plug 1 in, negative 2 times 1, negative 2, negative 5, 1, negative 8, and 4. I'm just multiplying everything by 1. Now we want to do the median, which is least to greatest. Our smallest number here is negative 8, which represents negative 8x. Going down from there, we have negative 5x. Remember, we always want to use the original, so negative 2x, then x, then 4x. So the one in the middle is negative 2x. Option A. Remember, whenever you're doing mean, median, and mode, you have to put them in order from least to greatest before you organize them. In problems like number 1, where it tells you x is greater than 0, that means you can pick a number as kind of a placeholder. And then once you order those numbers, you want to use the originals. Number 2, the average of 5 numbers is 20. One is the sum of those numbers. So in this problem, average, remember, is always the sum over the total. And that will always equal the average. Well, the average of 5, so 5 is the total. The average is 20. What is the sum? So when you multiply both sides by 5, 20 times 5 is 100. So the answer is E. Those numbers add to equal 100. Number 3, the median of the following data set is, let me go ahead and move this camera and make it easier. There you go. The median of the following data set is 2. What is the following possible value of x? Well, in this problem, we know that the median is 2, which means 2 has to go in the center. Well, numbers that are bigger than 2 are 6 and 7. So they have to go to the right. They're bigger. All we're left with now is 1 and some value for x. X has to be less than 2 because if 2 is in the middle, we already have 6 and 7. So we're looking for numbers that are less than 2. So looking at our answers, 3, 5, 6, and 8, those are too big. However, if we put this as 2, like x as 2, option A, 2 is still in the center, so it doesn't actually change. So our correct answer here is A. So I would just kind of work on listing those numbers out to help you. 4, the average of 5 numbers is 12.4. The average of 4 of those numbers is 11. What is the 5th number? So in this problem, we know that the first sentence says the average of 5 numbers is 12.4. An average of 4 of those numbers is 11. We want to know what number 5, or the 5th number, is. So it's kind of a double piece. You want to solve for x, and you want to solve for this part as well. So if I cross multiply, remember, you can clear fractions by cross multiplying. So 1 times x is x. 12.4 times 5 is 62. So when I'm averaging 5 numbers, the sum of those numbers is 62. When I'm averaging 4 of those numbers, my average is, or my sum is 44. If I want to know what the 5th number is, I would be subtracting 5 numbers minus 4 numbers, and I'm left with the number 18, which means the 5th number is 18. Option C. Number 5, the median of a list of 7 distinct numbers is 3. If a number greater than 3 is included, what will be true about the new list? Notice how all of these are involving median. So let's say we have some random numbers. We know that the middle number is 3. If we add a number bigger than 3 over here, our new median is going to shift up. It's going to get bigger if we add a bigger number. So looking at our options, the median will be 0. Well, if a number is bigger than 3, the median is going to increase. So it's definitely not A. It's not going to be smaller than 3 because if I was adding a smaller number, then yes, the median would shift down. Well, it doesn't say that I'm adding exactly 3. I'm adding a number bigger than 3. So the median's not going to be the same. In this case, the median will be larger than 3 because I'm adding a bigger number to the right, which shifts the median higher. 6, the average of 4 consecutive numbers is 14.5. What is the sum of the largest and smallest of these integers? Consecutive numbers, first one is x. The second one is x plus 1. So here's x is the first number, x plus 1 is the second, x plus 2 is the third, and x plus 3 is the fourth. When I average those four numbers, I get an answer of 14.5. So we did one like this in the notes as well. Simplify the top, so add all your x's and numbers. You get 4x plus 6 over 4 equals 14.5. So 4x plus 6 is 4x plus 6. When I multiply by 1, 4 times 14.4 is 58. Subtracting 6 gives me 52. And when I divide 52 by 4, I get 13. My answer is not 13, though. I want the sum of the largest and the smallest number. Well, if we're dealing with consecutive integers, our smallest number is the first, x, plus the largest number, which is x plus 3. Well, we know that x is equal to 13. So basically what we have now is 13 plus 13 plus 3. So 13 plus 13 plus 3 is 29. So the sum of the largest and the smallest integer is 29. Number 7. If the sum of the 10 numbers is x, which of the following expressions represents the average of these 10 numbers? Well, average, remember, where sum is the top, so sum is x. We're averaging 10 numbers. That is option A. It's just utilizing the formula and having you set up the problem. 8, what is the median of these set of numbers? Again, remember, it has to be in order from least to greatest. So 1, 1, cross them off as you go. Next I see 2, 4, 6, and 9. So finding my middle, I end up with 2 of them in the middle, so I would average. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so the average is 3. So that will be the median, because anytime you have two numbers in the middle, you always average them to find the median. 9, a professor kept track of attendance Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 1 week. His average attendance is 32. How many students attended his Friday class? So in this problem, he's adding 32 plus 34 plus some unknown. He's got a total of 3 days, and we know that his average attendance is 32. We have to find the value of x. How many kids show up on Friday? Well, I'm going to clear the fraction by multiplying by 3. So I'm left with 32 plus 34, which is 66, plus x equals 96. When I subtract 66, I get 30. So he has 30 students attend class on Friday. A lot of these average problems are just you working with the numbers and working with the formula. Drawing the formula and writing it down is going to make these problems a lot easier. Number 10 is pretty straightforward. It says, what is the average of 228, 219, 202, and 252? I'm just going to add all those numbers together. So 228 plus 219 plus 202 plus 252. Divided by 4. Now, you do not have to put these in order of least to greatest because we're averaging. We're not finding a median, so it doesn't really matter the order that we type those numbers in. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and add them all together. When I do this problem, I'm going to do this all in one step. So I'm going to do 228 plus 219 plus 202. Oop, not 0.2, 202 plus 252, close parenthesis, divide by 4. So your answer is 225.25, option C. Remember, when you do problems like this, if you want to do the average all in one step, make sure that you are putting parentheses around the numerator to make it a little easier for you. Number 11, if the median of 1, x, y, 4, and z is x, and y is greater than z is greater than 4, which of the following statements must be true? In this problem, it says x is the middle. So x has to go in the middle. So I'm going to cross that off my list. Then it tells me that y is greater than z and z is greater than 4, which means y is my biggest number, my biggest value. So y goes here, but y is bigger than z, which means z comes after. Now, it tells us that z is bigger than 4. Well, we already know x has to be in the middle, so 4 has got to go here, and by default, 1 goes at the end. So start in the middle and kind of work your way down to solve this problem. We want to know which statement is true. X is less than 1. Nope, it's bigger. X is less than 4. Nope, it's bigger. X is less than z. That is true. So it is C. We know x is not between 1 and 4, and we know that x is not between y and z. So the correct answer here is C. On these problems, start in the center, start with what you know, and then from there, build upon it. All right, let's hop to the back. Get that set up for us. All right, back. It does kind of bleed through. I'm going to go ahead and just move that because it's a little dark. All right, here we go. Get us a new piece of paper. Number 12, what is the average of 5/4, 1/2, and x over 2? Well, average means I add everything together, so I have 5/4. If I'm adding these, however, I need some common denominators. So I'm going to change 1/4 into 1/2 into 2/4. And in this one, I'm going to change to 2x over 4. We need to have common denominators if we're adding. So now I'm going to add all those numbers together. I have 5/4 plus 2/4 plus 2x over 4 divided by 3, which is how many numbers I'm adding together. So now I'm going to simplify the top. These all have the same bottom, so I know that 4 is on the bottom of the fraction in the numerator. 5 plus 2 is 7 plus 2x. Now, whenever you are dividing by a number in a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So the way I would rewrite this is times 1/3, and this 3 will go away. So what I'm left with is 1/3 times 7 plus 2x over 4. Multiplying top to top, I'm left with 7 plus 2x. 3 times 4 is 12. So the only one with a denominator of 12 and a numerator of 7 plus 2x is option A. Be very careful in this problem. It's very easy to mess up. They're purposely doing that. Notice option D, that is this answer without the denominator. So be careful. Also in this problem, anytime you have a fraction inside of a fraction, to get rid of that bottom fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. Number 13, if the sum of m and n is, or if the sum of n numbers is m, the average of those same n numbers is p, what is the value of n in terms of m and p? So, okay, first off, they're purposefully using letters that are a pain in the butt to say. Like, they're purposely doing this. So it says the sum of n numbers is m. Well, the sum would go on the top, the numbers go on the bottom, and it says the average of those numbers is p. It wants us to solve for the value of n. Well, the value of n, we have to clear the fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by n. I'm left with m times p equals n. If I divide both sides by, oh, I'm sorry. There you go, that's better. If I divide both sides by, not p, or not n, I am so sorry. I have just totally probably confused this problem. All right, we're going to reverse it back. M over n equals p. I'm clearing the fraction. So I'm left with m equals pn. I'm solving for n, or for p. I'm so sorry. See, I'm telling you, they purposefully use these values to confuse you, and it's working on me, apparently. So when I divide, I get m over p equals n. Okay? All right, number 14. The average of a set of numbers is 10. If 5 is added to each set, what is the average of the new numbers? So in this case, we have x over 6 equals 10. We don't know our sum, so when we solve for x, we get x equals 60. Well, we're adding 5 to each of those numbers. Well, how many numbers did we start with? We started with 6. We know that we have the original 60, but now we're taking those 6 numbers and multiplying them, or adding 5 to each of them, which is the same as doing 6 times 5. We still have 6 numbers, so we're still dividing by 6. So we end up with 60 plus 30, which is 90, divided by 6, for an answer of 15. So our average is now 15. So in a problem like this, what we're doing is we're solving for the sum, and then we're sticking with our sum and then just adding 5 to each number. Well, we have 6 of those numbers, so 6 times 5 is 30. When you add those, the average goes up by 5. Number 15, the list of numbers 1, 1, x, y, 10, and 14 is written in order from smallest to largest. If the median of this value is 5, what is a possible product for x and y? So looking at our answer choices, I'm going to rewrite that. We have 1, 1, x, y, 10, and 14. We know that this is the middle. To help us find the median, we know that the median is 5. But to find the median, we have to find the average, which is x plus y divided by 2, and it has to equal 5. So in this problem, in order to get x and y, I'm going to multiply by 2. So when we multiply both sides by 2, we get x plus y equals 10. So we are looking for numbers that multiply to 10, or add to 10, and then we want to know their product. So all of these answer choices, these are x times y. So we're looking for 2 numbers that I multiply to 24, but also add to 10. So if I look at option D, if I take 6 plus 4, I get 10. If I get 6 times 4, I get 24. Notice how these match. So it doesn't matter what x and y are individually, but we are trying to find which numbers, when added together, gives us 10, and when multiplied together, gives us 24. So this one just involves a little bit of thinking as well as some multiplication facts. Number 16, the sum of 10 numbers is 250. What is the average of those 10 numbers? Well, if the sum is 250, it goes on top. Number of numbers on the bottom goes on the bottom. So we're adding 10 numbers. To find the average, I would do 250 divided by 10, which is 25. Option A. Basic average problem. Finishing strong, number 17. It says, what is the median of the data list Q, X, Y, Z, W if this is your inequality and it's true? Okay? So in this problem, it tells you that y is smaller than x. So that kind of needs to go in this order. Now, let's talk about how they confuse you. They're confusing you because they threw this random 8 into your inequality. And you know what? 8 is not included in the data set, which means you don't use it. Okay, you don't use it. They're purposely putting it there so you pick it, and you don't need it. It's not there. So in this problem, it's telling you that y is less than x is less than w, so it's already in order from least to greatest. I'm just rewriting it, and then I need to get rid of 8 because it's not in the list, making w your median. Number 18, it says the average daily rainfall for the past 6 days is 3.22 inches. How many inches must rain on the 7th day? So we have a new average of 3.4. We did a problem like this in your notes. Remember, you need to do 2 different problems. So we're going to focus on the first, where it says the average rainfall for the first 6 days is 3.22. So we don't know the sum of them, but we're working with 6 days, and our average is 3.22. To clear the fraction, I'm going to cross multiply. X times 1 is x. 3.22 times 6 is 19.32. So the sum of the first 6 days is 19.32. Well, in our new problem, we still have the first 6 days. Oh, that should be a 3, sorry. Here, let me grab some whiteout. I don't know why I have not been using whiteout this whole time. So we know the first 6 days had that average, or that sum. Plus, we now have an additional 7th day, and we want our new average to be 3.4. So instead of putting a 6 on the bottom, we're now going to put a 7 on the bottom because we have 7 days. But we don't know what the 7th day's rainfall is, but we know our average should equal 3.4. You're going to do the same thing we've been doing. Cross multiply, so 19.32 plus y. 7 times 3.4 is, let me grab my calculator real fast. It would help if I typed it in right. It's 23.8. Subtracting 19.32, we get 4.48. So in order for our new average to be 3.4 inches of rain, we need the 7th day to rain 4.48 inches. Number 19, if the average of 12 numbers is m, which of the following expressions represents the average of these 12 numbers and 5? So average of 12 numbers is m. So when I add 12 numbers together, okay, I get an average of m. Now, we have no earthly idea what our sum is. So we are working with 2 variables here, okay? It's nothing that you cannot do. It's just you have to be okay with 2 letters. So we know that we have 12 numbers. We know that our average is represented by the letter m. What we don't know is the sum, okay? In order to help us find the sum, we need to solve for x. X represents the sum, so 1 times x, x equals 12m. So what this represents is the sum of the numbers, 12m. Well, now we want to find a new average. We want to find a new average of those same 12 numbers, which we know adds up to 12m, and 5. So we're basically just adding 5 to the end of it. Now, instead of adding 12 numbers like we did in the first one, now we're adding 13. So the correct answer is option E. Probability is a lot of equation working. It's going to take a little time. All right, what is the median of our set of data? So in this problem, I honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know all these square root answers, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and plug them in. So the square root of 2, roughly 1.4. I know 5 is a whole number, so I'm not going to worry about that. Square root of 3 is roughly 1.7. That's a 1. Square root of 5 is 2.2. Okay, so I'm just kind of calculating all of the answers. Now I'm going to organize them. Well, least to greatest. The smallest number here is 1. So 1 goes first. Up from 1 gives me square root of 2. Remember, we need to put the original form. We changed these to decimals to help us personally. But the answer choices, they're not decimals. Next number is, we got 5 square root of 3 and square root of 5. So square root of 3 is next. Then we have the square root of 5, and then we have a 5. So square root of 3 is located in the center, so that is your median.